Sports reporter Chip Matheson joining us at the stay-at-home order. Tonight, breaking news from around the world. People eating other people. We're not sure what the cause, but we've got Jessica in our news helicopter, surveying the scene from above. Jessica, what does it look like out there in Radio Land?
Tommy, I see a lot of mayhem, destruction going down on the streets. Oh, I'm going to start singing Electric Avenue. Hey, everybody, this is the stay-at-home order.
Joining us tonight. We are really excited to start the recording as we move into the fall and autumnal season, and like our absolute favorite time of the year, and that is Halloween. And so everything this month is spooky and crazy and scary, and we're excited. And Kyle kind of really put things into perspective for us and had a great idea to open this month up, and that was to bring all of our love of zombie lore and zombie movies together. And so tonight we're talking about zombies, and that's it. And we're going to start with zombie movies, and Kyle is definitely the MC of this conversation.
I gotta tell you, boys, my nipples are hard right now, and it's not because I'm transforming into a zombie. It's just
You got to plug in and charge.
Ooh.
Nice.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, man. I think this topic makes the most sense because I feel like Kyle was kind of the ringleader getting all of us into our love for zombies. I know, me growing up personally, I loved all the horror movies, the teen slashers, the Clive Barker science horrors, all that shit. I loved them all the same until I was trapped in a basement in high school with Kyle.
Wait.
Smoking weed. Nope. Let me finish. It's not sexual. Smoking weed, watching. Oh, wait. Does your mom listen to this?
She doesn't know how a computer works.
Cool. Smoking weed, watching fucking awesome zombie movies. And that's all we did. That's all we did. And the one that stole my heart, Evil Dead series. Hands down. You won me over there, Kyle.
Unquestionably one of the best. But before we get into the lists, I think, Derek, that you made an absolute great point, and that was the reason that I said what I said before. Kyle is definitely the MC for this conversation, because I too would say that while I had experience in some scary and horror movies and stuff before I started hanging out with Kyle, it definitely was Kyle that brought me into the fold with regards to like zombies, and really sparked a love for B horror and hands-on special effects and gore and stuff like that, and everything from like Sam Raimi and fucking Wes Craven and like you said, Clive Barker and stuff like that, to like Traumaville stuff and all that shit. And Kyle definitely brought all that stuff to the party. So I'm curious to know, Kyle, because even like when we first started hanging out, like you had a pretty deep knowledge of this shit. Where does that come from? Where did that, is that just something you found on your own? Or, because I know your mom is like really into literature and cinema and stuff like that as well. And so did she kind of turn you on to that, or what?
It kind of starts back with what we were talking about before, going to the video store and just kind of peeping covers. So there was a lot of, you got a lot of morbid VHS covers. I'm thinking especially of Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, where it was like a lady peeling her face back, exposing like a smaller skull. You walk down the horror aisle, and because you're coming the way in the video store, you take a right, and the aisle started like from the opposite end. So you're at the end of the A through D. So you're just coming right up on like Dawn of the Dead. And you just kind of dug through a lot of that stuff. It was just more of just kind of picking and choosing and having a special place for the schlock and gore and cheese, and it just like holds a special place in my heart.
So your mom, so really what it is then is it's just a combination of your weird young fascination with blood and guts coupled with your mom just really not giving a shit about the age rating system applied to movies, and renting for you just the absolute most terrifying.
Well, thank God my parents
garbage.
felt the same way, because my
Sure.
dad's like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck. There's like a girl on the cover being stabbed in the abdomen. He's like, yeah, I don't care. That's cool.
Cool.
Do you want a hot and ready too when we go want some breadsticks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't really remember ever having problems with nightmares when I was a kid, and so I think my parents were pretty cool. There were times where I was like so scared I didn't even go to sleep.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dude. I really got that way with games. All the Resident Evils. Fuck.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
That was actually a big reason why I kind of like, especially because of like all the jump scares that happen in those games. Like I just I don't play it because it makes me spooky.
I was always that kid that would that's a first person shooter, survival third party shooter. It's one player game. I would always invite a friend over and be like, hey man, you play, I'll just watch you. Because I was such a bitch, just like holding onto a pillow, just like, oh, you're gonna go down that way, dude. You don't want to go down that way. Oh, you're going down that way. Okay. And I'm like going like this, slowly fucking covering it up, going up.
Yep, and like I love the Resident Evil series, but I would say that I honestly haven't played a ton of it. I think Kyle, we played like Resident Evil 4 a lot when that came out.
Mm-hmm. When that came out,
that one had like the co-op and shit, and
they had that mercenaries mode,
right,
which was
exactly.
like a timed like point, like just like run out the clock, and that was always a lot of fun. Just to like kind of, it's almost like you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you're doing the maximum amount of damage and like just going crazy for as long as you can survive.
But to that point though, like. I personally didn't play a lot of the earlier Resident Evils because I was scared of them.
Oh God, yeah.
And so my love of Resident Evil was just like my love of these movies, born from watching Kyle just like coming over and hanging out in the basement, sitting on the couch, watching Kyle hunched over, fucking playing the TV, and I'm sitting back there like with blanket, like.
And that was his third playthrough, so he's just like, oh yeah, man, I know what I gotta do. I gotta jump through this window. I gotta solve this puzzle. Blade, why are you so quiet back there? Why are you being such a bitch, Blade? It's cool, man. I got this.
All right, Blade, in like 3 seconds, cover your eyes, all right?
I got you, Blade.
Hey, you're going to want to run and grab me another Mountain Dew in about 45 seconds.
Do it now, Blade.
All right, I'll be right back. Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and then walking through your house because we would stay up all fucking night. And of course, your mom and your brother and the dogs are asleep, or the dog rather is asleep. Everybody's crashed out, so the bed is just, or the house is pitch black, and so you walk upstairs to go fishing around in the refrigerator for some shit or whatever, and Kitty just fucking
scampers by.
You just freaking down the basement stairs. You're like, whoa, dude, I tripped going downstairs, man. That's fucking cool. I'm just gonna stay down here for the rest of the night.
That was the smallest fucking zombie I've ever seen in my life that just ran by me.
Yeah. It wasn't that I saw something, it was that I heard something.
So I think in summation, we can all agree that over the years, we've all gained this mutual respect and admiration for these good, bad, ugly, gory pieces of art.
Perfectly said. Good, bad. I mean, like the campiest fucking horror movies are still so good. That's why you watch them, you're like, I'll get looks from my wife, she'll walk in and be like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Shut up. Yeah, I know the camera's bullshit and it's shaking around, but this is such a good movie. It
doesn't matter. It's terrible. Did you guys see that movie Tusk?
Oh yeah.
What a ridiculous movie.
Hands down, the best Johnny Depp fucking character I've ever seen. And there's a ton of people that have seen that movie and didn't even realize that was Johnny Depp. Dude.
Spoilers.
Oh, fuck.
Spoiler alert.
There you go.
People haven't seen this movie. When did this come out? 2008?
Yeah, fuck them, dude.
Yeah, what is it?
They've had enough time. 12 years ago.
It's like 42 years later.
Shit, dude. Yeah, if you haven't seen that by now, just...
Shame on you.
Well, you might not want to.
It left me feeling really weird.
It was definitely a weird movie.
Yeah, I didn't.
We've seen a lot of weird movies, though. I think all in all, you have to kind of take the jump and risk your scruples to witness something truly awful. Just because there's something like what drew you into seeing that movie, like again, it's always the covers. I'm just like just sucker for cool art.
Yeah.
Initially the
that-
covers, and then like once you start picking up like, oh, okay, this series is really fucking dope, and you know, but it was initially the covers. Yeah, the covers drew you in for sure.
Yeah, I well, now especially with regards to like my watching of, you know, bad horror movies and shit like that. For me, it's, you know, at first the cover, I try to look for something that looks campy and corny and shit. And then if I read the description and I have to like read it again to make it make sense, it's definitely going into like my watch list. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that Tusk movie, you start reading it and you're like, what the fuck is this? All right, yeah, I'm gonna save that for later. And then, you know, usually it's like, I don't know, fucking morning on a weekend or something like that, and I got nothing else going on, or I'm up earlier than I intended to be, and so I'll just, you know, just have a little toke and lay down on the couch and watch some just absolutely god-awful horror movie.
Yeah. Yep. That's what the old me, you know, we're in our 30s. Like I'm doing it like while I'm working or something during the day. I'm watching the fucking movie. So I feel like a lot of times I can shield myself from that. Like I'm not staying up late. I should do this more often. I should stay up late, get high, you know, just really take in the picture and just let it fucking scare the shit out of me. But, you know, 30-something-year-old Derek, this is what I get. I'm on the laptop doing work, and I'm kind of like periodically peeking up, and I feel like I can handle movie. I just think I'm more mature now. I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking adult. I can handle these movies. I think it's because I don't get to enjoy the movies like I did back in the day. You know what I mean?
Get all spooked.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get the full like gripping onto the fucking couch like, oh shit, here it comes. Oh fuck.
Oh, I'm biting that pillow, Derek. You just keep on biting that pillow.
Oh, wait a second.
What? So I know we're talking about zombies. Like, what I find cool about zombies, and I didn't really know this like first diving into zombies, you know, like you always think of like different lores for horror, and you got like vampires. Vampires have been around. Like the timeline for vampires is like goes all the way back to like the medieval times, right? I mean, like vampires were talked about all throughout that. Same with fucking zombies, dude. Like I didn't even realize until like I started like becoming more and more like fascinated with the zombie lore and culture and all that good stuff. Fucking Romans back in the day, dude, they believed that the dead could rise and that the dead were more powerful than the living. They found a bunch of fucking tombs. Like they'd bust out the tombs, and the skeletons would be being held down with like big ass fucking rocks and shit because they didn't want them to come back to life, and that was kind of like their safety net to do that. So I think that's really cool that like all this like, you know, these old civilizations and shit like kind of believed in reanimation, and you know, and same with like West Africa and like the Caribbean and all that shit. I mean, you got like the shamans, the Bokors and all that shit, to where they passionately believe this medicine to where they could like suspend life and they could like raise, you know, the dead and all that shit. I just find that shit so fascinating. It's super cool. Like I want them to come out with like a book or a movie based on like the Roman shit. You know what I mean? Like why the fuck were they holding their bodies down with big ass boulders and shit? Like, were people coming back? I want something like that. I want a period piece, I think, is what I want.
Get some like badass like 13th Warrior type movie.
Yeah, that'd be fucking dope.
I'd be down with that.
I feel like they've had something like that come out recently, and then it just gets like swept under the rug because it's another one of those. See, you know, nobody famous in it. It's no budget. It's all special effects on the computer, so they just kind of like straight to video, or you don't even get to see it, which is a bummer. Like some of the stuff like that you'd actually like to see just disappears way too fast.
They had that, like, was it like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies or something like that, which is like a old colonial period piece, and like I just don't think that registered. But I didn't even watch it. Like it didn't really.
Yeah,
hit home
I didn't hear
me.
very good things about it either. But it was based off of a book.
Yeah.
By Seth Grahame-Smith, who actually took Pride and Prejudice and then infused it with like there's zombies and everybody has martial arts skills and swords.
He did the same thing with the Abraham Lincoln one, right? Was that the same guy?
That was, same guy. Also very good.
Mm-hmm.
The movie, I think, in the same vein, was kind of a disappointment. But I mean, when isn't that the truth when it comes to literature turning into a movie?
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
almost
seldom
always
does
the
it
case.
like just hit a home run. Yeah, for sure.
So I think Derek made like did more research than I would have given him credit for. Look at
I
you.
knew this. I knew this shit before going into it,
going
man.
way
I
back.
fucking love
I didn't see Wikipedia reflecting into your glasses at all.
No, I got
way.
notes. I got fucking
Yeah.
notes.
Sure.
Got to keep on track.
Well, I think, but
the one sheet of paper.
Outside of
Research.
like those ancient like accounts of the zombies in the Roman days, which is cool as fuck, man. Like people were like, when that dude died, they were like, Jesus fucking Christ, that guy was so gnarly as a human.
Could you imagine that fucker coming back?
Boulder that dude.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna fuck some shit up when he comes back.
That dude was an asshole when he was alive. Can you imagine him coming back? Because they believe the dead they believe the dead were more powerful. That's
I'd like very much to see like a Roman, like ancient Rome period zombie movie now. That sounds fucking sweet. But the next thing that you said though, and I think that this is where like our idea or our concept understanding of zombies was started at its infancy, not like ours but like our Western civilization, modern Western civilization's definition of zombies was born out of like that Creole Haitian lore, like you were talking about, that Caribbean Haitian, and the use of magic and potions and stuff like that to entrance or reanimate flesh or whatever, and that's like the official definition, right, of the zombie is reanimated corpse, right? It doesn't necessarily specify in the official definition.
I mean, they would even do shit like they would take like puffer fish poison, and they would basically get a person to an inch of their life to where they would appear dead, and then the person would wake like 3 days later, and they're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and they just simulate like a coma and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And, at a time where essentially like what you could see or feel, or just, with, the naked eye or very rudimentary medical equipment, so people for all intents and purposes seemed like they were dead, and then they'd wake up a few days later. Or there were stories of Creole shaman and Bocours doing like stupefying people, and applying certain like psychotropic drugs essentially to basically make their victim into somebody who's susceptible to suggestion or behave in a certain way according to their instructions or whatever, and hypnotize people as well. But that, I think, is really like the introduction of zombies into modern Western culture. And then it grew from there, right, to kind of evolve. And as it does, the methods for zombification kind of morphed away from magic and into, right, the more like scientific shit, right?
Science is magic.
Well, of course, it's just magic with a couple extra sentences.
Yeah,
maybe
more
flashy numbers, and symbols.
Magic with a K.
Infections and stuff like that is kind of what you're. Yeah, like it can be transferred. Yeah,
and that is where we're. Where our zombies are.
The modern take on it. Not to stray too far from the path, because I know we're talking about movies here in a second, but did you guys ever see the Ash versus Evil Dead series?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude. So good, but, like, that's a really cool thing because they had a whole, like Pedro's uncle was a Bocour in it, and, like, they like, went into that in detail, and I thought that was really cool how they spun that, like, old school, like, medicine magic vibe into the series. Dude, I thought it gave it a lot of life and a lot of character. I thought it was really cool.
Well, I don't want to shit on anybody's parade, but I am going to have to challenge any zombie recommendation that does not fit the Romero-born, non-vocal. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oh, dude,
I
that
agree,
was just like Guy Fieri on the grocery games. You're just like, fucking, here we go. I'm throwing this up. All of a sudden, I know you got your list, but fuck you. You got to do this now. I felt like, I don't know if you guys watch Grocery Game. Good show.
No, I'm sorry, buddy.
So, but like to the point then, right? And the point is movies. And so in Western cinema, zombie movies really started to kind of show up, and some of them still had to do more with that like Haitian magic-y zombie, and like the early 1900s, 20s, 30s,
The
even
Lovecraft
into the 40s.
era.
Exactly. And of course, Lovecraft himself had stories with themes of reanimation in him, or in them rather, and has been the inspiration for several zombie movies. But at some point in time, it kind of shifted, right? And then there was Light in 1968.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And
No,
my list of top 5 zombie movies is not in any specific order of favorite.
I think we can all agree on that. Yeah.
I have a hard time landing on a favorite with one exception. There is one zombie movie that holds above all other zombie movies and will forever until the day we all perish from an infected bite. And that's George Romero's
Night of the Living Dead.
Right? You can't not love it if you love zombie movies.
It's a cinematic classic, man.
It is unquestionably the barometer against which all other zombie movies are compared, period, without question. If a zombie movie comes out, somebody at some point in time is going to say something about that zombie movie and how it relates to Night of the Living Dead.
Well,
it is
George A. Romero,
phenomenal.
dude, he was the godfather of fucking zombie horror. Like, he's the guy. Like, he's the one that, like, oh shit, this is a really weird take. Oh shit, this is actually really dope. You know what I mean? Like, he was the guy. Oh, I love that movie.
The Godfather.
So that's I'm gonna let you continue. I'm gonna let you finish, but and go through your list. But that's on my list too. So I just want to add, instead of going over it, that was absolutely on my list. That was the first one.
Samesies,
yeah. Like, the reason why I love that movie so much is because that was really, like, truly the first movie that I saw where the protagonists, the good guys, didn't make it. You know what I mean? Like, that, yeah. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing, but it makes it so much better. Like, Ben at the end when he fucking gets Dramatic. It right in the eye, and it's full circle because the guy's coming in cleaning house, and fuck you if, like, I won't do a lot of spoilers, but this movie's from 1968, so fuck you if you haven't seen it. Like, I don't care. I'm going to talk about the ending, but like when Ben gets shot because they think he's the only one that makes it, he gets shot through a window because they think he's a zombie. That's full circle, and I'm like, that is amazing. And then, like, the ending credits is just like they're burning all the fucking bodies. I'm like, wow, that's so much better than if someone made it.
The movie hits on so many different levels, and at such to come out at that time, like the way that it did, you know, I mean, it set the standard, like I said, for any other zombie movie, right? It defined the zombie for cinema for years, right? If there was a zombie movie, essentially that zombie had the exact same traits as the zombies in the Romero movies for so long, dude, right? And of course what I mean is, you know, the kind of mindless, slow-moving hordes, just swarms of zombies that just kind of amble. And, you know, the thing that was scary about the zombies in movies, in that movie specifically, and other similar zombie movies from around that time, is at first glance, and in that movie especially, the zombie is, I mean, it's scary, but also it's kind of like, well, I mean, it's over there and it's moving pretty fucking slow, you know? And so I'm not terrified of it, you know?
Look at me, Blade. I'm terrified.
They're right.
You think I can outrun all of them?
Oh, they're right behind you. They just have a way of, like, being there all the time. And it's almost like the part of the terrifying factor of that zombie is that it's just incessant. It's an endless, just presence of zombies, and there's no escape. And they yes, exactly.
Ooh,
and they
word.
just an insatiable appetite for your sweet pink delicious bits. And so, you know, that in itself, and how well he captured, like, that idea, to use that idea of this, like, mindless swarm of ghouls to terrify, you know, moviegoers. And then he did another thing that at the time was, I think, met with a fair amount of criticism. And that was just the special effects and gore in that movie were wild for the time.
Hands down, dude.
Right?
Like, I saw that movie first, probably like late 90s, early 2000s. So, I mean, that's like, what, like 30 fucking years after it came out. Like, I still can watch that, and I watched it probably, within the last 6 months. I always, follow up on it. But, like, when they do the close pan-ins and they are eating, like, the organs, that is so graphic. And, like, whatever they used to do that back then, it's amazing. Because I'm like, that is fucking horrendous. I mean, just, like, when they're, like, pulling the guy out of the truck and just going to town on his, like...
That was real. That was real, like, animal parts. I'm fairly certain.
Seriously? Oh my god!
I remember hearing,
dude.
It was authentic, whatever it was.
Gross.
And I know they did not get it like in the most legal, or they got it in like roundabout ways for sure.
It makes sense, man, because that my stomach turns when I watch that part. I'm like, that is so real looking. I mean, just like the flesh of it, and just everything just looks so disgusting. Wow. Kudos to the actors, and I know the actors didn't really get a whole lot of, like the extras, they didn't get like a whole lot of recognition. It was like, didn't he go to a town and just kind of was like, you guys want to be in a film? Like, it was kind of something similar to that, right?
It was really low budget. That was the other part of it, is he made it for practically nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it the only movie that I was willing to rank and without thought place at number 1 on this list, it's definitely in the top 5 for me of all time good horror movies, because it achieves so many different things, and it really speaks, I think, to the directorial skill of Romero, and that he was able to tell such a convincing story and create such convincing, with the help of obviously his team, right, and the rest of the staff on the movie, but create such convincing effects and to make such a moving story with so little money. It was a great movie. It was a great cheap movie, and so it was my introduction to zombies, and also my introduction to just terrible B-rate movies, because not all zombie movies are B-rate. In fact, most of the other ones on my list are not, but that was really cool. I am just constantly impressed by that movie, and I still try to watch that about once a year.
I agree with all that. What's next, Big Papa?
Well, also one last point about, I'm sure more points. We could make this whole episode probably about Night of the Living Dead, but
seriously,
I thought, you talk about Ben,
the jewel, so
the main character, right? The protagonist of the whole thing. And what was really cool to me now, looking back on it as from a much more mature perspective, Ben was a black guy, and in 1968, it was very weird to have a black guy be the main character in a movie full of white people and have him play the hero, and
there was a lot of racial tension even in the movie, like on purpose. Yeah, it was good. It added to the strain of it, the stress of it.
Pop topic, man, Pop topic for sure. And I have to, I guess, applaud Romero himself, because when he was asked about it, as of course he was on several occasions, he just said, dude did the best fucking job in the audition. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, he crushes it too, seriously.
Dude,
he does a fucking great job. He does a great job. And then for me, the last bit that I have is just like you were saying, Derek, the ending, to go through all of that and like to have this emotional investment into Ben and his trial and tribulation throughout the whole flick,
his
and then
journey. You were there with him. Yep, and then just boom. It's right though. It needed to be that way. Like, I needed that the first time I watched it. I needed to be like, holy shit, sometimes it doesn't work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose. It was jarring to me, and even now watching it, I'm like, oh man,
it
bummed me out then. It bums me out now.
So number 1 with a bullet, we're all agree, Night of the Living Dead is just the staple of the modern Western zombie. And I think that along with that, at least on my list, I held tight with another Romero inspired, but the first introduction of the Fast Zombie, the Dawn of the Dead remake that came out in 2004.
That was so close to being like in my mentions, but I left it out. But that is, yes.
I think they took what they had and they kind of reinvigorated a lot of the zombie stuff at the later time. It was pretty heavy in the 80s. There's a lot going on with like sci-fi zombies that were aliens that invaded and took over bodies, or this toxic waste spilled into the lake and everybody turned into zombies. They had a lot of that during the 80s. 90s kind of slowed down a little bit. I don't think there was anything that really it sticks out to me so heavily. They have, the remake of Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini, a few others that are they're good as like cult classics or in retrospect, but like at the time it just kind of flew under the radar. I didn't hear anything about it until years later. But I remember seeing
love that guy.
Dawn of the Dead remake, Zack Snyder's only good movie, and he had ultra violence and like jump scares and wacky gore effects. Like the guy was an actual paraplegic. He was, and Ving Rhames was in it, and that was just like bada bing, bada boom. We're in this.
Dude, so the opening scene of that movie, so fucking good. Like just living a normal life with her husband. Fucking in the morning they're in their bed, everything's happy go lucky. The neighbor girl is there. The husband is like, oh, holy shit, jumps out, and just right there, it's just on, game on. And then like the scene where she's driving and it's like that aerial, above her, and just all the fucking mayhem, and then a car cuts her off and explodes into a gas station. That is amazing looking. That scene gets you going. Yeah.
Way too high.
Yep.
Nonstop excitement in that movie. And I think that it was, one of the things, because that movie is definitely on my list as well. And
we saw that in the theater together, bro. We were holding hands and everything.
Of course we did.
Kiss?
Of course we did. Maybe a little.
No, it was too early. We just snuggled.
But it was so great because before that, we of course had seen the original one. Had opportunity to view that, and
I think that was part of the driving force of going to see that. Is like,
I'm sure that we watched the original from like 86. I think it came out in 86, didn't it? The original one,
late 80s,
78,
or late 80s.
Oh, 78.
Was it really?
Wow.
Oh, that
Dawn of the Dead. Yep, late 70s.
All right.
Wow.
So all right. So either way, so when I'm sure that we watched that movie, possibly even like the day of going to see the remake in the theaters hours before. I think one of the things that makes Dawn of the Dead, the remake, so important was that it came out at a time for us where we were young and we were impressionable and we were, just coming out of school or getting close to coming out of school, or, well, I guess I suppose we would have been starting our senior year of high school. But just the same, that itself, I think, makes it an important movie to be on the list because it was brand new when we were at that age. And it is a fantastic homage, remakes to the original. It had just enough of the original story in there to really pay tribute. And then, like you said, Snyder's take on it and some modernization, the introduction of fast zombies, which for a lot of like purists was a big turnoff when that movie first came out. But it makes sense if you consider the time period, right? And they're like remarketing the zombie for the Mountain Dew generation, and fucking amping that shit up, right? And
oh shit, he's so extreme. He's coming right at me.
That was fucking terrifying though, right? Like I remember seeing that the first time and being like, oh god damn it. Like now, especially like as a chubby fucking teenager kid that really couldn't pick his feet up faster than anything, I was all of a sudden like really anxious over what might happen if there was a fast zombie outbreak. Dead right away.
Not gonna make it.
Nope.
Not gonna make it.
Be the fastest I ever moved though as a fucking zombie. You better believe that shit.
Gonna get you.
Just hoofing people down.
What do you get? Okay, so Derek, we didn't get one that's on your list other than Night of the Living Dead, huh? We said 2 movies. So
yeah. I mean, I think you're gonna be surprised on a couple of mine. A couple of mine are so I got a couple classics on there, and I don't know, man. I'm
gonna shit on it a little bit. I'm gonna shit on your list no matter what you do.
No, I hope you do, dude.
I imagine that Kyle and I's list looks very similar, and Derek's is probably all like
maybe
hipster, pretentious.
Hipster. Fuck you, bitch. Your glasses look just like mine.
Yeah, that's true.
I like Zombievers, and it was no, it's not. Go ahead, Derek. What do you got?
So I do really like the humor side of zombies. Like I really fucking do, and you kind of were the one that made that happen, Kyle. Like this next one, and this is a series, and I'm not gonna pick one movie because fuck you, they're all good, and I'm not gonna choose. You can't make me. The Evil Dead series. That's what really started it for me. That's what escalated it to the top. Sam Raimi, fucking Bruce Campbell, just those one-liners. Dude, Sam Raimi, the king of camera angles back then. He took like literally low budget, and like when you were in the eyes of like, I don't know whatever the dead force was like in the first 2 flicks, and like going through like the swamp, it was fucking insane, dude. And he did that shit just super low budget, and like there's some really fucked up stuff in that. Kyle knows the fucked up stuff in there, but like still the camera angles were fucking amazing, dude. And the best one-liners. I mean, they literally took, Bruce Campbell took Ash and just made him an icon. Like he's a horror icon.
Bruce Campbell is one of my heroes. So if I were to ever meet him, I would probably faint.
I met him, and that was the only guy I ever met famous who I was starstruck on. I was like,
boo.
Yeah.
You said that and I just started to sweat.
Yeah. Dude, I got his door when I was valet at a hotel, a pretty nice hotel around our place, our parks.
Now, they filmed that out in the woods, like out in Michigan. They're out like from U of M, University of Michigan. These guys came out and they did this, same as Romero, dirt cheap movie. And
I heard they filmed it here, somewhere near here, and then out west, didn't they? Or like the middle of the country. I thought they did two different places, but I could be wrong.
Very, very well could be, but I know they're from our neck of the woods. So
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Shop smart. Shop smart.
There's one. Yep, that's smart. And I really appreciate that you put that on the list, Derek. But they're possessed by demons. They're not zombies.
Oh,
I actually, I did the same thing, even though that is true.
Yeah, it's more of a demonic thing, isn't it?
I also put Evil Dead on the list.
But if you're not paying attention to plot or storyline, like for most of those movies, that was not a factor you had to worry about.
Yeah.
And I think that, given the circumstances, in the same vein, I would probably put Evil Dead as above. Evil Dead 2 it's probably my top 5 horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely there.
Maybe I put that on there just because that was what kind of opened the doors for my love of zombie movies. Maybe like my brain just kind of registers that to being and you are right. It's more of like a demonic, like possession type, thing. But my brain just goes there. Like for
me, it's like one of the things that was so exciting for me about the Evil Dead movie again is like the special effects makeup and the way that they achieved like the face rot and stuff. And I think that that's probably the main reason why it made it onto my list, even though it isn't technically zombies and there's really not a lot of zombification going on.
Of claymation.
That
God
is like the
special effects for no money.
Yep.
Of special effects to me right there. That scene.
Are you talking about where his girlfriend is dancing? Is that the part?
No, the claymation part where she melts.
Yeah, but wasn't she like dancing without a head or something first? I can't. I'm trying to picture.
That's the second movie.
But that was claymation too, right?
It was like stop go, yeah. Stop motion.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know which one we were talking about.
Just the same. All right, well, I guess in the interest of keeping this shit on the level, Derek and I crapped the bed with regards to the Evil Dead inclusion on the list.
Yeah, that was a big
and I think maybe what we've got here then is an opportunity to delve into some more horror movie talk on an upcoming episode of the Spooky Stay-at-Home Order. But
demonic possession.
Should we I'm down if we do occult and demon shit.
Exorcist.
Yep, dude. I'm a
Constantine.
I'm
fucking Keanu Reeves. Constantine.
Oh, dude. Come on, get out of here. That is such a good movie.
And, dude, anything preternatural to me is just like, dude, I fucking love.
Did you say preternatural?
It's preternatural means like unnatural, like vampires and werewolves.
Predatory.
Oh man.
Pederass? Are you a pederass?
Preternatural, look that shit up.
We will. We swear.
Anyways, back to zombies. Zombie movies specifically. What's next on my list?
Yeah, slam it, Blade.
Since we're not talking about the Evil Dead right now, and since we did talk about the Dawn of the Dead already, the next one on my list is Shaun of the Dead.
Boom. Yes. Mine, I got that on there too.
Same. Also,
Shaun of the Dead came out a couple of years after the remake of Dawn of the Dead, so it was still fresh. It still
I think it's the same year, actually. I think it was both 2004. Yeah.
Also I went and actually, they did a limited release, and I went and saw it in theaters because I don't even know how I saw a preview for that movie, because it was produced in the UK and it was imported over here, and I just happened to be like, oh, they're playing it like an hour away. I took my then girlfriend at the time, like I made her go with me. Yeah, it was no. I have other things going on in my life sometimes, Derek. It's not always about you.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, right.
We'll always have Fast and Furious, baby.
That's right. Ooh, that's so sweet.
That was our first our first delivery of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, man. Those
it was.
It really,
Yep.
it
And you're
really.
right.
Oh,
It was 2004. Definitely right. I don't know. My dates are all fucked up. But yeah, even just the same, right on the heel of Dawn of the Dead. So it was just perfectly timed and a nice like return to, especially for like zombie purists in a way, to the Romero zombie. You know, because they were the slow moving, lumbering horde type zombie in Shaun of the Dead, and then like you said, introduction to Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, fucking hilarious.
Dude, they
years
beat
elapsed
zombies to death with Queen playing on the jukebox. I mean, how much cooler can you fucking get?
What I love about that movie is that they go ahead and they joke about like, oh, they're so slow, they're stupid. Why should you be scared of them? They've lived through the apocalypse, but like so many people died.
I love like the return jokes in that. Like just the stupid like you got red on your shirt. Like
it's very good writing.
Like that, dude. Yes.
Did you know the entire idea of Shaun of the Dead was based off of an episode of the UK show Spaced? That was like directed by Edgar Wright, and Simon Pegg was in it. Nick Frost was in it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so they did a quick like intro to an episode where Simon Pegg's character is playing Resident Evil, and he gets like sucked into the game. So they shot like a scene where he's going through and shooting zombies, and
that's
from that they're like, that was awesome. That was like the coolest thing to make. We need to make a zombie movie.
Yeah.
So they write it up. You know, they put it out probably like 6 to 8 years later. Like I feel like it was mid 90s when they did that show, so it was a decent gap in between. But seriously, that made them household names. That thing blew
absolutely up. Yeah, they became like a duo after that. Dude, like the obnoxious like cut scenes when he's like making breakfast, like totally not needed, but it's just like whoosh, 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 like he's fucking putting shit on his toast and he like slams the fridge and shit. It's just like, what? But it's like trying to add suspense in the wrong area of the fucking movie, and it's gold. It's fucking perfect.
It's a great homage to Evil Dead. They do the same thing when he's like making his chainsaw arm. They're like,
yes,
that's the other. They mention all the right things. They're like, Romero zombies. We're using like a lot of horror gags and motifs, and we're just referencing things that people appreciate. And it was like, oh, these are all my favorite things, and these guys are hilarious.
And it tied into stoner comedy. I mean, they're both stoners in it. It hit all the right levels. You know what I mean? It just such a good fucking movie, dude. The ending is so good. I love
they didn't spare any expense either in the effects, which is so important with the zombie movies, in my opinion. You know, the zombies were convincing in that movie.
Did you just quote Jurassic Park?
Did I?
Spare no expense.
Oh, I guess.
Dino DNA.
I think in like 2004 too, that was such a good time in our lives. You know, we were graduating, like we just fucking did stupid stuff all the time. So it was just such a good time, and like I just remember watching that. I don't know, man. That definitely is on. What the fuck? What are you guys doing?
What are you doing?
What's
Kyle,
up?
I assume Shaun of the Dead was on your list, right?
I had Shaun of the Dead was definitely in the top of my list.
So we're pretty close together. We have a couple. Okay. Mm-hmm. Keep it cruising. Go ahead. I'm
gonna hold on to one more, but I'm gonna kind of go back and say Dawn of the Dead, but the first one,
the original, the blue face one.
Yes, it was like the first where it was like it's colorized. So they're like, how do we make these guys look like they're dead? Everybody's got gray blue complexion. They did the very exaggerated facial expressions, the very pink and bright red blood. But the story was very compelling. The thing about like the Romero zombies, they gave the idea of like isolation and you're being closed off.
Yeah.
So there's nobody else that can help you, and especially with the time period, technology is limited. They had like some of those, you know, giant phones, or they had the access to a helicopter, but you know, capabilities is like, we don't have enough gas, we don't have enough ammo, we barely have enough food, and you really start thinking about like, is it the zombies that are going to kill me or what?
Right.
Yeah, so that's right. That movie definitely reminds you that zombies are not the only enemy when it comes to survival long term, especially in a hunkered down location. You know, I think that there's a pretty strong argument for keeping yourself on the move during a zombie apocalypse?
Well, when the world's going to shit, it's like survival of the fittest. It
Right.
it becomes a really like we all become what's the word I'm looking for? Just primitive.
Dead.
Like we're all
dead.
dead. Yeah, nice. All right.
Spoopy.
That's definitely a good one. That did not make my list, but that is definitely a good one.
It's fair enough.
I think the two that did make my list will surprise you. I don't even know if either of you have seen the last two on my list. So this one is actually a newer one. It came out in 2018. It's called The Night Eats the World. It's a French
I missed
flick.
that one. Ooh.
Super, super fucking good. So it was directed by Dominique Rocher, and it's French.
Oh.
The dubbing in it is super fucking good. I mean, it's very fluid, but it's a pretty low budget. It's indie, but it really kind of dives into the whole like mental state of like a zombie apocalypse. So like the premise of it is there's this young musician who has like a bunch of like music tapes that he wants to get back, because he's doing a music project from one of his exes, and it's set in I think it's set in Paris. And so he goes to her place, and she's having a party or whatever, and he stays the night there, and like basically he's locked in this room. And when he wakes up, it's almost like a 28 days later, but where it differs from 28 days later is because that's more of like an adventure, like fucking Cillian Murphy kind of like just goes on a journey. This guy's literally stuck in this apartment building, and just like dude goes deep down like the rabbit hole of like inner thoughts, and like he becomes like friends with one of the fucking zombies that's like trapped downstairs. He names them and shit. Like he finds like ways to like survive and like basically keep his sanity and shit. And there's like I don't want to give it away because neither of you have seen it, but there's like super crazy fucking, and it's on Hulu, so you guys can watch it, but there's super fucking crazy twists in it to where like my mouth was just open at the end of it. I'm just like, what the fuck? It's The Night Eats the World. It's super, super fucking good. It basically it's like if one of us three were like the lone survivor of like a city block during the apocalypse, like what the fuck would we do to like maintain?
Just hunkered down.
But like, how long can you
fucking
fucking do that before you start losing your fucking shit? Like he's a musician, like he goes out and finds a drum set, and he's trying to stay busy and keep his fucking sanity. But like, dude,
how does he like? Is he able to like replenish his food supply or?
Yeah. Like I don't want to give anything away from it, but like you should watch it.
I'm
definitely
gonna catch that one. For sure.
I have one more question,
Mm-hmm.
and it might be a spoiler, but for this question, I don't give a shit, and I don't want to know anything else after this question.
Okay.
You said that he befriends the zombie that lives downstairs. Do they like hang out? Does he talk to this zombie? Does the zombie talk back?
There's like a bellhop type thing that got trapped in like behind like this like I think it's like an elevator door, but it's like barred, so he can go downstairs and like the thing just like kind of fucking is looking at him. And he just like, dude, he has no one to fucking talk to. So he's like, at first he's like, fuck you and shit like that. But then after a while, like he names him, and then like he'll go down there and just like talk to him. The thing just wants to fucking eat him. But like, I mean, that's like the only human contact this dude has is talking to a fucking zombie. So it's like, it really fucking blows your mind. It's a really good movie. Really, really good movie. The Night Eats the World. Check it out.
I will check it out.
And you said it's dubbed in English, right?
Yep.
And for those of us that can read, do we have the option to watch it in French with subtitles?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
All right.
You can do that on Hulu. Yep.
Excellent. I'll have to check that out.
You uncultured swine.
I don't like. I appreciate that you say that the dubbing is smooth, it's fluid.
It is.
But I have never in my life seen a movie that was dubbed and been like, that's good. That's really
silky.
Good. Every single time I watch it, I'm like,
nope.
Nah, I'd rather,
Did you just say mayonnaise? Look like you said mayonnaise.
I'd rather hear the foreign language that I can't understand in the background while I'm reading English subtitles. So at least the sounds coming off the screen match the movement of their mouth. That for me is the thing. So I'm not trying to be pretentious about it. I'm just saying.
Kind of, you were a little bit though.
He said you're a big old dummy. Blade, you got another one on your list that we haven't talked about yet?
I do, but again, I think that you and I might be sitting at I suspect that we might be sitting at pretty similar spots with regards to this next one. And I want to, before we dive into it, because it is another one that we can talk about for a minute. Derek, you said that you had one more on your list that you were not convinced we had seen.
I do.
Okay,
yes.
so I think Derek should lay that on us first.
Want me to go? Okay, no problem. Yeah, this is another newer one, and really the reason why I made my list is because it is so fucking original. Like, the originality of this movie is crazy, but it's totally a zombie flick, and it is super fucking entertaining. It is called Anna and the Apocalypse. Anybody?
Oh, I've heard of it, but no, that's really new, isn't it?
2018. Couple years. I
Okay.
think it came out same year as The Night East of the World. This is what this fucking movie is, and I'm not joking. It is literally a kind of like a Shaun of the Dead, kind of like, but like I would say gorier, a little more like real feeling. Shaun of the Dead meets High School Musical. It is a fucking musical with zombies in it. Not only is it a musical, it is a fucking Christmas musical. So you get a goddamn double tap on that, dude. It's like Nightmare Before Christmas. You can watch that for Halloween. You can watch that on Christmas. Dude, they have an original soundtrack to it. Bangers, dude. There's the first fucking song that they all start singing to and shit in their high school is it late.
Can you give us a taste?
I think we should fucking pull up. So I have this clip. Look up and you can put it on and then just like dub it onto our stream if you want. But for us to listen to, look up the Anna and the Apocalypse clip, Turning My Life Around. It'll probably be the first one that pops up. It is literally so the funny fucking thing about this is like the world is starting to go to shit, but kids just don't pay attention to anything. So they're like fucking singing and shit. And like the world's fucking like, dude, it has to like, a zombie has to like come up into their fucking like bubble before they're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking an amazing movie. And it pairs very, very well with like a sativa hybrid. If you guys are like, it's just enough to like keep you active, but not, you can sink in a little bit.
You want to get up and like maybe do a little,
dude, you can,
a little shake
I'm
with
telling
it,
you, they're all original tracks. Dude, one of the tracks is like a bad boy kind of like Grease feel to it. Like it's, dude, it's good.
Better
and
shape up,
dude. It is, yeah, dude. Fuck yes, it is literally High School Musical. And dude, the first song of the movie is a fucking banger. It's a 3/4, just like drum beat, and they're all fucking like bouncing parts off each other, dude, and just like fucking hitting the high notes and stuff. It is super tasty.
I'm interested to check this out, and it looks like is it an English?
Yeah, so
like
it
British
was.
thing?
Yes, it's a British thing. Yep. So good British humor in it. Kind of plays on the Shaun of the Dead a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So watch that because it's fucking. You get the double whammy. So I'm gonna now watch it October and December. It's gonna be a double whammy movie for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then it's just
Right.
it's literally fucking High School Musical, just da 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 da, and with zombies, and it's good. It's good, man.
Sounds good to me.
It's
I'm into it.
It's got good ratings. I mean, it shouldn't be something that would be on someone's top 5, but just because of how original it is, and like I giggle like a fucking little kid when I watch it. It's just so ridiculous, and I love the humor of horror. I do.
It's a fine line between humor and horror.
It is, man.
I agree. Yeah, I think that a lot of things that are intended to be horrifying end up being humorous.
Mm-hmm.
But just the same. Okay, so Derek had some like a French zombie movie. It does sound very, very intriguing. Back to the list though, and my last selection. And I'm not sure if this is yours or not, Kyle, but I suspect it might be, and that is, of course, 28 Days Later.
It's not on my list, bro.
Really, dude? Oh man, that's shaking me up a little bit.
Cillian Murphy, come on now.
No, I don't mean to be a shitbird again, but
Nope. Hey, I get it, man. I get it. It's not for everybody, or I can understand why maybe it's not in the top. It was a toss up for me between that and World War Z, and I do like World War Z. It's fun for me, and I know that it's kind of in its way, it's kind of campy without intending to be. I think that movie intends itself to be entirely serious and terrifying and intelligent the entire time, but
The zombies just didn't do it for me in that one.
It's campy as fuck for me. you know, and that's part of the reason that I liked World War Z so much. But 28 Days Later for me was a movie that like scared me. That movie, the cinematography in that movie, and the way that it used like sweeping wide angles and desolate.
Danny Boyle,
and
man.
There was so much isolation, and then there wasn't, you know. And it's fast and scary and cut well, and it's gory, and just that was, I think that was my most notable like first introduction to Cillian Murphy, where I walked away from it was like, damn, that was fucking Cillian Murphy, you know.
I saw his penis.
There is that. And you get to know him really well right off the start, and I think that can be important sometimes in building a long-standing relationship. Maybe just the same, that movie for me is definitely the last one on my list, and I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't make yours, Kyle. But I think that it's a movie that you will at least admit that you respect and appreciate it. It is a decent movie, right?
I like it. It was scary. Yeah, it's a scary movie. The entire thing, I'm pretty sure, is just shot on like digital handheld cameras. One of those.
Dude, Danny Boyle's old school, man.
Another zombie movie, low budget. Yeah, and he's just doing all these shots with just like a Sony Handycam these days, basically.
He did the same thing with the Beach. Remember that? Leonardo DiCaprio, same director.
Oh yeah,
yeah, really low key like that.
That movie just spooked me right from the start, man. Waking up in the hospital like that, and
oh yeah.
You know, and having it be like that far gone, you know, that tripped me right out. It took the zombie movie from like this. The plot is, you know, a lot of these zombie movies like World War Z and stuff like that is it's you're there, you know, at the inception of the outbreak, essentially, or there shortly after the inception of the outbreak as it sweeps across the world, right? And the thing that was terrifying in a way about World War Z is waking up and not knowing what the fuck happened, and just like that's the new normal now.
Yep, he's just hello. Oh yeah,
dude. And knowing that that's and that was part of what was so scary to me, is that you as the viewer at that point, like for me, I knew zombies and I knew I was walking into a zombie movie, you know.
Yep.
And to see that from the get-go, you're like, what are you doing right away? Don't be yelling like that.
Yeah.
You know, and so that movie just starts piling the suspense on right from the start.
It's just a big bag of anxiety, the whole thing. But this was so hard for me because I have such a love for zombie movies that I actually made 5 honorable mentions just for fun, and that was one of them. So that's definitely up there for me. That movie is great. Okay. Yeah.
That's fair. Honorable mention works for me. That is the last one on my list, and I have nothing more to say about it.
All right. One more time, I'm going to be the class shithead and say that 28 Days Later is not a zombie movie. It's like a rage-infected people movie.
Yeah, it is rage, but yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Infected with rage.
But I mean, they're not dead, but they're still like transformed. They're like, I don't know.
It's close. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. That's the argument on the message boards. You know,
we're really getting into semantics. I guess purists would argue the same, but to me, that is a zombie movie through and through. And whatever you want to call it, the rage virus or zombie virus or whatever, I don't care. That's a zombie movie for me.
COVID.
It's COVID.
Mad cow, whatever.
Wear your mask. See, if he'd have just woke up, strapped the mask on, everybody would have gotten better.
Good to go.
The movie would have ended right there.
Good to go.
My last pick, a note. Maybe Derek, you put it on your honorable mentions.
Go ahead.
It's good, bad.
I said that for 2 of mine on my list, but it doesn't change. It's that I love it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. I like the movie. It has many sequels. It's inspired tons of other movies, and that is Return of the Living Dead.
Boom. That's on my honorable mention, baby. Yep. The Return of the Living Dead, dude. Dan O'Bannon. Yeah, dude. That's that is
popularized brains.
Yep. That is such a. That was like so the reason why it's on my honorable mentions came out in 1985, which I feel because I was the year I was born. There's so many good like zombie horror movies that came out in 1985, so I feel like I had that like connection right at birth with these fucking stupid movies. But like that movie is so fucking ridiculous. Like the cast they have in it, they're all like 80s punks and shit, and just like the shit they say in there is ridiculous, and it is just full of 80s tits and ass, like, which I love that back then, you know what I mean? Like the whole thing so good. So yeah, that is absolutely on my honorable mentions. The Return of the Living Dead. Nice.
Well done.
Yep.
That's a good one too.
My three other. Oop, go ahead.
No, I was just say good list, boys. I think that rounded out really well.
Yeah. So let me just do it just because I did it, and I kind of laughed when you started this off, Kyle, because my honorable mentions were 28 Days Later, The Return of the Living Dead. So we got those two. Train to Busan.
Yep.
Oh yes, and mine too.
That's a good one. Yep.
More modern too. They had the drama though. They really nailed the drama.
Yeah.
With some of these,
really, really interesting how like the fucking zombies work together and shit, and just like, dude, that is an action pack. That's actually inspiring a lot of like Korean like horror movies. Like that Awake just came out. I haven't seen it yet, but that totally reminds me of, and I will watch it. It totally reminds me of Train to Busan, which I think they're coming out with a second one. This one made me laugh because you said it already. Dead Alive, also known as Brain Dead. Peter Jackson. Dude, fucking ridiculous movie. I don't remember when I saw this movie, but it's literally super fucking gory.
I saw it in high school, and just permanently in my brain is just taking the lawnmower and just
yeah. Like the cutscenes are so like stupid, and like he tries to make it super campy, but like it is like probably the goriest horror movie I've ever seen, dude. It's great. Like got that Norman Bates feel with like the guy's mom and shit. Like it's just such a weird fucking movie. So that's on there. And then my last one, just I fucking, this was mainstream and shit, but I just loved it. Zombieland. Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson. I mean, they just.
Yeah. Did you guys see Did you see the sequel?
I did not.
I'm afraid I did not.
I did not yet.
I will. Didn't bring me in.
I will.
Love that Bill Murray had a cameo in it. That just tickled me.
Yeah,
I saw it in the theater and I had a really good time, and that was, know, it just.
That was another good one. Like, I mean, I wouldn't put it quite on par with Shaun of the Dead, but it's fun to just kind of like, take a little joke, take a little jab at the, the genre and just and shake it up a little bit. And it's got
that modern comedy feel mixed with zombie. It's that modern slapstick, stupid shit. Like, totally feels like a even though he's not in it, like a Danny McBride type thing, you know what I mean? Just like or like
I like that the comedic ones that are on the list are were made obviously by people who respected the zombie itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So we've all put a lot of time in watching movies. We've definitely played more than our fair share of zombie video games. I was thinking House of the Dead. Oh, and getting your aim straight and ready. But do you guys think that you might actually be able to survive when the zombie apocalypse comes for you?
I don't know, man. I'd like to think I might have a little bit of a chance, but see, the thing is that like there's so many different zombie theories bouncing around in my head. I'm afraid that I would just stumble over one and fall into a trap,
Well, BuzzFeed seems to have it all figured out, so we're going to take this quiz to see if we're going to actually survive the zombie apocalypse.
I like it.
The alarms are sounding. What do you grab? Some food, water, a burner, phone, and a knife, a suitcase full of clothes, entertainment, food, and weapons, camping equipment, games, clothes, and a Swiss Army knife, a first aid kit, a burner phone, a few granola bars, and a water purifier.
Jesus, I can't even remember the
last one. I'm getting the first aid and the water purifier.
Okay.
These are weird mixes for me. I guess I'd take the water purifier.
Okay. There's a knock on the door. Quick. Grab a weapon to defend yourself. 1. A steak knife. 2. Pepper spray. 3. A large skillet. 4. A baseball bat.
4.
I'm going with 4 too.
Baseball bat. It's time to figure out where you'll be hiding out. Where's your first location? A. Are you kidding me? I'm not going anywhere. B. My friend's house. C. An office building or school. D. A supermarket.
D.
I assume not going anywhere puts me at home. I'm going to stay at home.
Okay, staying home and going to the supermarket. Uh-oh, you're running low on food. What's your next move? A. Go back to my house and find some unspoiled food. B. Rob a grocery store before supplies are out. C. Split supplies and trade with others. D. Rob some houses. Oh, yeah.
D.
B and E's for everybody?
Yep.
You encounter a few zombies on your way back. What do you do? A. Run. B. Fight. C. Sacrifice somebody else. D. Create a distraction and run.
D.
You don't want those guys. You get some firecrackers and take off.
Mm-hmm.
You discover that your shelter's been taken over by zombies. Where to next? A gym? An old hospital? C. A department store? D. A hotel.
D. I like that. A
Hotel?
A lot of areas to hide in a hotel.
What was it? A gym, and then what was the second option?
An old hospital.
Old hospital, department store,
Mm-hmm.
or what was the last one?
A hotel.
I think I would go with the hotel.
Your clothes are starting to get a little ripe. Where are you getting new ones? A. I'll take them off the dead bodies. B. I'll trade with a friend. C. I'll steal more. Or D. I'd rather smell bad than die.
I'll go D.
I don't know, man. I'll just steal. I got no morals and the world's gone to shit, man. I got no morals. I'll steal.
You're starting to really miss your friends and family. Do you want to risk meeting up with them? A. Yes, I'm going to go find them right now. B. I wish I could see them, but I'd have to be smart. C. Only if they come to me. D. No, I don't want to lead the zombies to them.
Man, this is a huge moral fucking question.
Think about it.
The other
What's
ones are
your heart
really
say?
easy.
I don't know, man. In the interest of the podcast, I'm going to go D. I'm going to just stay at home.
D.
I'll probably say D, too.
You hear another alarm. Maybe it's safe again. What do you want to do? A. Go outside and scope out my surroundings. B. Wait 24 hours before emerging. C. Wait for someone to find me. D. Call friends and family to see what's up.
B.
Guess I'd probably start with D. You know, if there's still a network to communicate with at that point, I'm going to reach out and see if anybody else knows
You
what's
guys
going
hear
on.
that
What's the
alarm?
word?
You guys hear that?
I don't know if the zombies have like reached a stage of evolution where they are able to sound alarms or whatever, but I'm not about to just go running out there into the arms of a couple waiting zombie police officers. And they'll be like,
That's it, buddy. You're busted. Come here.
"Need
We're going to
your
bite you.
brains, sir."
Sir.
You got
Stop.
supple flesh running around in the street. Do you think you could survive out in the wild? A. Hell no. B. I'd survive, but just barely. C. Hell yeah. D. I've got the skills, the knowledge to survive.
I like to think I
Got
could
the
survive.
skills
Yeah,
and knowledge to survive.
Blade's a fucking hippie, so he's definitely could do D. And I'm going to join him. I'm going to say D, too.
You got the skills and the knowledge?
Yeah. I think I could survive out there. I know how to hunt and fish, you know. Fuck off. Build a shelter and shit
In the woods.
in the woods. Those bear shit in the woods.
All right.
Like a bear.
Well, I got some good news and some bad news.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
It seems that you both have the knowledge to survive, but how do you do as far as having bathroom troubles? I think, Blade, maybe you're doing okay. Derek, you'd probably shit your pants.
Wait, why'd this go into shit?
That's the last question on the thing. It says, Derek, are you going to shit your pants if you're scared of zombies?
I mean, if I have to go, I might defecate.
Okay. No, it looks like you're both going to survive. Here are the results. I was just biding some time.
Right here, Blade.
did it.
Come on.
All right.
Come on, Blade.
Virtual
Boom.
high five. That's all right. The answers to the question are obvious. Like, don't go outside unnecessarily.
Yeah. Don't be a hero.
Be a hero.
Lay low,
Don't
survive.
Don't have, you know, you're gonna have to have some, you know, deep discussions maybe, and ask yourself some questions about your own ethical code, as you may have to do some robbing and thieving, or whatever, what have you. But
Just like right now, as how I'm surviving, you stay home, stay out of sight, rob and thieve. Do you guys have anything, closing ceremonies? I think we're just going to say that Night of the Living Dead is a goddamn masterpiece. And if you have any concern about what zombie movie you should be watching to start out your spooky season, you should probably just dip back into the classic that is Night of the Living Dead.
Yep, go from the beginning and work your way up.
Try to fulfill our promise to social media and put a list with links to all of the movies referenced here this evening, and you know, especially Derek's weird, pretentious, obscure zombie shit.
You'll like it, Blade.
Then you can go watch. I'm sure I will. Actually, I say that in jest. It sounds really cool. I'm super excited about it. But even that sounded sarcastic, and I didn't.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it really did. Just can't help it when you're talking to me.
I can't wait to watch
I
it.
can't fucking wait. It's gonna be
It sounds
super
great.
awesome. Yeah,
You're all the best.
I like hanging out with you guys on the internet. It's pretty cool or whatever.
You're all right. You're all right.
All right. Well, it was boy, we really put some miles on the tape tonight, boys.
Yeah.
So
Talk about something we like, and we'll just fucking fly.
Yeah,
you guys,
dude.
we had a lot of fun here tonight, and I just want to thank everybody for listening. And I think if you want to give us a rating, review, hit your iTunes, that would help us out greatly. And then, maybe shoot us a line over at the show at Stay at Homecast. And, maybe we just check us out, iTunes, Spotify, Acast at your leisure. And, we'll see you at home. Later, guys.
Bye-bye.